Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Monday, August 3rd, 2020. I'm Astrologer Dave Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for being a part of High Vibe Dad TV. If you're not, make sure that you subscribe today. And, of course, I just did Battle of the Gods. It's a 4+ hour special program horoscope that I did. It's for $12.95 going into this major Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto big battle that we're going to see, and all the other aspects in between, and the history that I've done over the last couple thousands of years of charts to show you we have never seen anything like this, and anything close, I show you the correlating connections to it all. So how it's going to play out, why don't you find out? Check it out at highvibe.tv. That's the mothership, of course, which your app, if you download the apps for highvibe.tv, which are free, by the way, with lots of free content, but if you want all the stuff that's subscribed or any of the paid special videos, you just go to highvibe.tv, purchase, and then watch it all on your app. Now, today we are in a major full moon in Aquarius, with the sun's, of course, still in Leo. But this full moon in Aquarius is unique already because it's a full moon in Aquarius. Let's just not, let's just be astrologers here for a second. Or if you're new to astrology, Aquarius is the most unique and different. So is Leo in many ways. They shine their light and their uniqueness, and they own that, Leo and Aquarius. But the big square point is going to be to Uranus and Taurus. Woo! So, a full moon in Aquarius likes to chill out the vibe. Okay? Like, Aquarius is like, chill it out. Leo's like, get all intense about it. And then here's Uranus in Taurus, which is almost not chill. It's almost like, hey, I've got my values. I've got the things I want and need in my life to feel better. And if I'm not ascending to those things, I'm not going to chill out about it. And I'm not going to be excited about it or happy or put a lot of drama to it. But I maybe will add some drama and I will add some disconnect. And this is a very weird moment because as we look at this full moon, this is about things that literally in our lives, especially because it is in square to Uranus, this full moon and the full moon is in Aquarius. This deals with people. And what stuff does not work? What stuff does work? But it's more than just work. It's the feeling of the bliss that takes you to your future in a better place. Especially with what's coming in life. We got Mars today that's exactly squaring Jupiter. Mars in Aries, of course, in its shadow period because it comes retrograde here in September 9th. So we've got not a lot of time till Mars goes retrograde, and it's slowing down and it's squaring Jupiter. So this is where, when it comes to your identity and what actions you're taking in your life and what you define yourself as, are you in a place to where this is the story that is taking you to exactly the destiny in your life that you want to go to? Are these the choices that you've made that are actually feeling like they're fulfilling some sort of wholeness in your life, some sort of beneficial energy? Or are you into such hyper belief systems too that everything's all gravy when really you're not getting it? Like, it's not. And you continue to be over optimistic. That's because the South Node in Sagittarius is part of all this. Because Venus in Gemini, which has been in Gemini all of April, all of May, all of June, all of July, and still here into August, but this is the last week of Venus in Gemini. Remember, Venus went retrograde in May and June. So when it comes to relationships already, this is completing the cycle from 2012, which was an eclipsed Venus, and then 2004, which was an eclipsed Venus. And the last time we didn't have an eclipsed Venus in Gemini, or even, remember, it was only Gemini that had the Venus eclipse during the retrograde cycle. And it's a 120-year transit. So 1996 was the last time that we saw Venus retrograde in Gemini without it being in an eclipse. And ironically enough, in 1996 was Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn like right now. So there's something that is about a completion cycle here of the last, what's 96? Is that 24 years? Yeah, it's 24 years. That's coming to a close when it comes to, especially, we've never seen this Venus and North Node that is happening right now in Gemini, as Venus has finally come off the squares to Neptune, finally come off the quincunx to Jupiter, Pluto, but it's like, Venus is starting to quincunx to Saturn in Capricorn, and with the North Node at the same time getting quincunxed here, while this full moon's going on square Uranus, while also, we will get into it in a second, Mercury's opposed Saturn. But this is about relationships, and it's about the values in your life, and because Uranus is in Taurus, we got to look at Venus, and woof, and then if we got to look at Aquarius, and we got the moon. So if we're dealing with the moon and Venus, which are two benefics, and this full moon is connected in a good way with the Gemini vibe, with this where the North Node is and where, of course, the moon is. And the moon, the nodes serve the pleasure of the moon and the sun, and they both happen to be in good aspects. Gemini and Leo get along. And the moon in Aquarius gets along with Gemini and Leo, and especially this nodal activity. So it's not that bad of a full moon unless you really think that you can fix broken shit with a broken tool and broken parts and broken this, and it just is repetitive patterns. And you're not willing to admit to yourself that to get out of the drama, you literally get out of it instead of fix the drama. Because if it was really sticking, the last couple months, you would have already had big moments with people, with relationships, where when it comes to your inner kingdom and your inner happiness, and especially more so your inner emotional stuff, it would have already been dealt with. And right now you'd be, okay, we made it through that. You wouldn't be coming to a point where there's questions. If you're having questions, and not in the positive kind, but more in the negative, that's how you know. Because Leo and Aquarius is like, I'm all in, especially even Taurus with Uranus, like, I want it all, like, in a positive way, and I want to feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, then And if you're questioning whether this feels good or not, what are you doing? These goes into all of our values, though. A project we're working on, a career we're at, the world, of course, right? But that's where we get too South Node and Sag. And that's where the belief system is a problem for your identity. Well, I believe I have to do the right thing in this sort of sense and stay in crap and not do, of course we got to do the Capricorn thing and still ride the trail and do the integrity. But there's an integrity of your heart. There's the integrity of not doing things that aren't of the heart just to do them. Now, there's certain situations in life where that could come up, but I've really tried to analyze that one, and I can't think of one. Even if it was an emergency and you're helping somebody, you're in an emergency position because you love them, and you, even if you don't know them, because you love the situation, because you want to bring positive to it. And the universe brings those crazy situations into your life because you're there to offer that positivity and that hope. But this is a moment in your life where you have to realize that this is odd, because you have to cross the bridge to a new destination, a new world. And it's one that's going to bring you ultimate happiness, but there's ultimate fear with Mercury and Cancer opposing Saturn and Capricorn. It's emotionally figuring out, okay, I see the restriction dead on, and I also see where I need to make a choice. And even though if you think it might not be clear, it's clear. Mercury was just trying Neptune. Like the last week you got the insight from Spirit. Like, okay, yeah, okay. There it is. It's been revealed. So why keep pondering? Why keep questioning? Why keep trying to put it all together when this is about it's together and I'm moving towards? Because with disconnection comes connection. So when you turn off one light on a switch in a room, that other light might turn on if you use that new switch. Like there's a whole circuitry to this. And this is better living in your life in the circuitry of your heart and the circuitry of your values and the circuitry of the world that you connect with within that heart, within those values, within those people, within those relationships, within those things that make it feel Gemini-like, Leo-like, Taurus-like, Aquarius-like. These are signs that like stimulation, like nice things, like to be curious, stimulated. And if you're not in that energy, now I know it's kind of hard because with Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto being in Capricorn, there is a lot of taking away a lot of that from the universe. I'm not going to lie, that's a gaping hole in the universe of like, everybody, the party's over, bruh. But the party is never over, especially when the sun's in Leo, and especially when the full moon is in Aquarius. That's about connecting the kingdom and the people together. That's about connecting the sun and the planets together. That's about connecting all things. And so anything in your life right now that has disconnection, it's not fixable. Because you have to go to energy, and that's the fear of, fears are major T-squares. And this is a major fear of a radical shift into a better life. Which, when you actually analyze that from emotional, intuitive mind, instead of just emotion, or just getting, of course, like hearing the intuition, but then just playing it through the brain, and then the brain denying the intuition, it allows you to really focus on Saturn showing me the reality with not only the North Node and quincunx, but also looking at Mercury, and also Saturn quincunxing Venus, and then Jupiter and Pluto quincunxed Venus. Venus just went through a long cycle, and Venus is completing an extra long cycle. So this is the moment. Especially with Mars square Jupiter, it might be like, well, this is going to be bad luck if I take this action. It's like, have you looked at all the truth, and have you looked at all the things about what's not aligning for you and what's not really taking you to where you really want to go? Jupiter's saying, hey Mars, why don't you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Because even though Mars is trying to go to war with Saturn, right? But you got to remember that Mars and the Sun are both in their dignified houses. Saturn's in its dignified house. So that means that Saturn in Capricorn's in its home house. Mars is in Aries, that's its home house. And the Sun's in Leo, that's its home house. So there's a lot of planets, and Neptune's in its home house. And we haven't seen this since 2018, this extreme. We haven't seen this since 2018. We had all three like this. So, all four. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And this is a moment that you just can't deny. You know, it was interesting because it was in 2018 when we had this full moon, but it was in an eclipse with a Mars retrograde with the eclipse. I think it was July 27th, 2018, and it squared Uranus. So today is the day that is the break out of and the breakthrough of when shit hit the fan. July 27, 2018 in your life. Now, you could have been in easy denial and thinking it was the most amazing thing of your life, but it showcased in many ways because of the fact that the nodes and the Venus retrograde of October and November of 2018 squared all this spot, and there was a lot of intensity with Venus opposing Uranus. That was the first time I think that we had actually seen a Venus retrograde in Taurus, or Venus retrograde in Scorpio oppose Uranus in Taurus, and the nodes being in Leo and Aquarius, and then moving into Cancer and Capricorn in November, and then the Venus retrograde, of course, back into Libra. I'm trying to tell you that period of July through November of 2018, that's all being brought up right now, and that's what's being purged out, and that's what's moving you. And the second, like lightning speed fast that Aquarius rules, and Uranus, and especially in Taurus, a better life that's more connected and of the true heart and of the true alignment is going to show up. So this is going to be lightning bolt energy that comes. And if you just try and sit in denial of that, or just like not try to do anything, it's like the Wizard of Oz. It doesn't matter. The tornado still comes and picks up the house and takes you to the Yellow Brick Road, And so it's about how well do you want that? Do you want to not know what that flight's like? Or do you want to at least have somewhat, if we have an idea of control in our life, which is pretty much not, but the idea of control of, well, at least I can at least pick my seat, and maybe I can drive myself so I can listen to my own tunes, and I don't have to be on some crazy flight. And that's what everybody has to confront with on this full moon. And put to bed all these issues and situations. And I know it feels like a battle, or it feels intense, but this is preparing you for what is to come in the world. And so being aligned with the right tribe, being aligned with the right things that make you feel good in your life, being in alignment with relationships that feel, and I'm going to throw that term out there because it is Gemini, twins-like, more like a twin than like, or does it feel more like a brother-sister? Does it feel like brother-brother? Does it feel like sister-sister? What? I mean, where is it to where it feels like spring and not like the opposite? Like, I'm trying to stay positive, but I know it's heading into darkness. Because that's when you start packing your bags and go, it's heading into darkness, and I don't even have on a sweatshirt. You know, it's going to get cold out here, and then, you know, I want to go get food, and I don't want to be uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable if you're not going to prepare yourself and make the choices and take the actions and not face your own beliefs, and especially ones that are written from the last 250 years that Pluto is destroying in Capricorn with Jupiter and Pluto, right? And Saturn. Like, there's this massive exodus happening of what our traditions, of our rules that we have unwrittenly put into the world of the morals and values of what we define integrity, when real integrity is always just redefined by wherever we're at in the moment and what's of the heart. Now, of course, what was of the heart back in let's say 60 through 75 into 77, or actually 1761, 62 through 1760, 1776, 1777, is definitely kind of what is, of course, being all brought up right now. But are you living your life in that way? That's why I say, like, I'm not here to trigger people, but are you living like your grandma or grandpa? And like, you can't, especially if you're younger, if you are one, hey, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm saying for the generations that are younger, and I had an interesting insight. You know, for baby boomers, you guys all came in at once, big time. And if you're a baby boomer out there, you need to really think about your life right now and make sure that you are not, and this might sound crazy, but the fear that's being projected out there, of course, is all the things in the world. I'm not even going to say what they are. But they happen to be affecting the baby boomer generation a lot. And with Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, I'm going to be honest, it's not, these are the alignments that you've watched my predictions brought out what we saw in history in the 1500s and in the 1300s. Okay? That's what this energy brought on. That if you're in denial still, it doesn't matter how old you are, that you're not in alignment with your truth, with people and the right crew and the right everything, because it's harder for that generation. Especially that if you have Pluto and Leo, right? Like, this is going to hit you hard because, of course, this is all making aspects to that. And so, it's time to think about those things. Even the Pluto Virgos, Neptune opposing your Plutos. And, the Pluto Scorpios, the millennial generation, like, Uranus in opposition to you. Like, are you really not going to go towards a much more healthier, positive life, or are you just going to stay in this obsession mode in dark places and obsessing with things that don't provide you with what you really want and what you really need, or you don't get it all because you don't find the real quality, or you're not willing to take a risk and raise to a higher vibration? This is what's going around. And there's mass exodus happening on the earth. I mean, it was interesting. I just saw, I don't remember the person's name. A bunch of people, because of course I'm in Southern California, were posting how many people moved out of LA on the 1st this weekend. Think about that also in the spiritual world. Like, who's leaving? Because if you're not in your truth at this moment, and you're too afraid to just face the pretty simple things in life, right? There's a lot harder things in life to go face right now than you living in your honest truth of your happiness in your heart. Like, if you can't do that and you're too afraid to communicate that emotionally, if you're too afraid to make the leaps into that definition of that truth, because with a dignified Sun in Leo and a dignified Mars in Aries, I don't care how much is in Capricorn, like I've said, I don't care how much, even with Neptune's like, well, you know what? Neptune's the outpost way out there that's the radar for the Sun. And the sun and Mars work together because that's the commander for the sun. And so, if there's weird things that come into the universe, Neptune triggers the alarm, the radar, the intuition for the sun. It's the outpost. It's also our dreams. And so this is a moment where you have to go and tap in. Is the outpost been giving you a signal forever? And you're not going to, how long are you going to wait till whatever it is that comes in? Are you prepared for it? Did you define yourself by saying, no, that's not going to happen? No, even though it is, and trying to fix something that's broken, this is that moment for you to, it doesn't have to be dramatic, although it will feel dramatic. But actually, when we get to the other side of the bridge, and we actually go to a better life, that's where the calm is. And staying in the crazy place that makes us actually feel crazy, it makes us feel upset, angry, especially with Mars square Jupiter here, people can get really angry and explode. And that's because of a lot of emotional repression, and that's because of a lot of repression at the same token of the writing's been on the wall. And so with all the writing on the wall, are you today not going to deal with it anymore? Are you not going to deal with the writing on the wall? Or are you still hesitant? Because this brings up hesitation, Jupiter square Mars, right? I believe, but I'm unsure. I don't know if the door will open. I don't know if there's good things on the other side of me taking this action. Oh, well, any action with a dignified Mars will have good results. But when Jupiter is in retrograde, and even more so in its fall sign of Capricorn, it almost is too worried about the cautious. It's looking at too many cautions opposed to taking direct action, which Mars is saying, no, I got to take direct action. Mars wins that square. And with the sun and Mars, not really in trine yet, but with the sun, you got to remember, at 11 degrees, this is the lawn party when you come to Sabian symbols in Leo. And so the lawn party is getting shattered here, or getting amped up to you getting to the lawn party in life. But I want to tell you that, this is the last thing that I was channeling for you all, but it was interesting that if you look at this life, and you look at your life at this moment, and you go, okay, I got to take that action. Chiron is involved with this full moon. Chiron is sextiling the moon. Chiron is making great trines to the sun. And it's like, are you not going to heal yourself by not doing what you really want? When we saw Chiron last time in the end of the 60s into the beginnings of the 70s, that's what brought on the whole 70s what's up and long hair and all the bell bottoms and disco and all these things. It was the weirdo of just going and following what I feel intuitively that I feel like I'm going to be, even though sometimes you might look back and be like, oh, I don't know about that, I don't know about that carpet, or I don't know about that couch that we had, but it doesn't matter. That's what makes it so beautiful. And that the beautiful thing about life is that we need to erase these identifications that literally we feel a stigma about within ourselves, or we stigmatize onto others, of course, but a lot of it has to deal with the stigma within yourself of how you're defining yourself by staying into stupid situations that are just stupid because of your ego wanting to try and overcome or to stay in something that defines yourself. Usually this brings up very hard energy for people who are defined by others in a way that they have defined their whole life by that other person, yet they've never found themselves. This is like a nightmare transit full moon for you. But not everybody's really in that space, usually. I think that in today's world, we can find that more. But I'll be honest with you, if you're in that world, this really does come through and kind of done with that, because the sovereign energy of your own values and your own needs and your own wants, and you having the power to know when something's not good anymore and when something's great, and you know the difference. And that's what this is about. So make sure that you get the Battle of the Gods. And, of course, we're doing spiritual dance music and Deep Love Tarot. So this is going to be a very busy day here on my YouTube and on highvibe.tv. Oof. Lot. Let's see what the full moon card is. Page of Cups reversed. So, yeah, this is where repressed communication emotionally and not doing things that are fun isn't going to work anymore. Because I love the Page of Cups. There's something about it that's it's fun. It's delivering positive news, but it also is because it's going to a positive place and it's creating, the understanding of the communication and the understanding of just the emotional body of what feels exciting and fun and imaginative and free. But yet, with this reversal, it's almost like, here's the signs, but I don't want to accept them, or I don't want to talk about them, or I want to try and get through even though the sign says stop, you're done. And you're like, I'm going to keep going. It's like, no, it's not going to be fun. What you see on the other side of that. I love you all very much. Thank you so much for all the support. I wish you the best on this full moon. And of course, we're doing spiritual dance music and a special Deep Love Tarot, of course, tonight. Free, live, of course. So you're not going to want to miss that, where I go much more to the ceremony and so forth. Love you all, and I'll see you all later.